Hello people, this is Derek Hiwatt back here again with the Pod HD500. Going through the amp models here, at least the ones I use, and we are on the third amp in our selection of amplifiers. Running through the Hiway 100 amp model. This is the Hiwatt DR-103 amplifier, great sounding amp model. Same setup as last time, the 2x12 PhD ported amp model. 57 on axis with the room all the way off. Master at 50, sag at 50, bias and bias excursion on 50, hum all the way down, low cut all the way down, and thump all the way up. Other than that, I just kind of messed with the EQ and the tone controls to kind of get a tone that kind of matched my playing style, and I think I got something pretty decent. So let's hear how it sounds. And I'm playing my Variax 300. Using the VDI into the pod, running direct to the desk with no post effects or EQ added, just straight up 12 o'clock on all the tone controls on the mixer. So anyway, let's hear how it sounds. Let me turn that delay off. We don't need that. Let's make that just a hair brighter. Turn the presence control up just at about 50. Alrighty, so nice tone, nice tone. Let's mess with the drive. Right now it's full blast, so I can't really go up from there as far as the preamp goes. Still got plenty of room on the master, but let's turn the drive down to, it might be a little weak, but let's just try it at 50. Here we got. I'm going to go ahead and turn the master up for this, just so we don't have a wimpy sound. So as you can hear, it's pretty clean. Now, Hiwatts are a British style amp, and so it's meant to be a very loud, clean sound. Of course, I'm recording direct, and I'm hearing this through headphones, so it's not very loud at all. All my family can hear is the clicking of my strings, which y'all are probably hearing quite a bit of too with my mic. I don't know if y'all can hear that or not, but that's all everyone else is hearing. So, nice sound. Let's crank that up to 70 so you can hear how that sounds. Alrighty. That's a pretty decent sound. And right there, since we're kind of at that sweet spot in the amp, or at least pretty close to it, let's hear the different guitars through it. So here's the Strat model, and on my Variax, I'm running it factory stock. So it's a standard Strat, standard Telly, and standard Les Paul tone. So I'm not doing anything weird with it. It's just a standard Strat, so, and Telly and Les Paul. So let's hear how the Strat model sounds. I'll try to see if I can play something different than I did in the last video. And since I'm a worship leader and I use a pod, might as well do Lincoln Brewster stuff. Who is more famous for being a worship leader who uses a pod? Sorry if I'm offending someone who's not a Christian. I'm not going to turn this into a turn or burn video. I'm just trying to show you some guitar stuff, but I just want y'all to know where I come from and kind of what I do. So, but that's all I'm going to say about it in this video, at least. Alright, so here's some more Strat sounds. Alright, so pretty nice tone. Now let's hear that with the telly, starting with the neck pickup. Now the telly in the middle position. Alright, now with the Les Paul. Middle. Neck. Alright, so back to the Strat model, so we can kind of mess around with some stuff. Sounds good. I want to bump up the presence just a little bit more. I like the sound of twang a little bit. Bring that bass down just a little bit. And go and set the treble at 50 so it's not cutting anything. See, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. Let's crank that drive up and hear what kind of mayhem we can make. Alright, so pretty cool. Now let's turn the gain down to 80. I kind of want to hear what it sounds like in between 70 and 80, so I guess that would be 85. So that's a pretty good amount of gain for me. We already kind of messed with the master, but let's just do it some more. Here's the master at 50. Crank it up to 70. a British stack. Well, not really, because it's going through a 212, but you know, it's a Hiwatt. We want it cranked. And even with the drive fairly high and the master wide open, it's not very, it's not a metal monster, you know, and that's what I like about the Pod HD is it's realistic as far as the gain stage is concerned. Again, I've never played through a Hiwatt, but from what I hear of them, that's pretty close to what they can do. I mean, they're not a hot-rodded, heavy metal rock and roll thing. I mean, it's meant to be just a real loud, crunchy sound. It's really more of a loud, clean sound, but when you're that loud, you can't help but have just a little bit of grit in there. Alright, and if I sound like I don't know what the heck I'm talking about when it comes to the real amp, it's because I really don't. I'm just, I kind of recognize the names and the models, and I've heard these amps before, the real amps. Some of them I've played through, some of them I haven't. But, so if my terminology is not 100% correct, understand where I'm coming from. I really don't care. I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm just saying that so you know that I'm just turning knobs till I think it sounds good, and I think that's really kind of the point of having a pod. You know, it's not really about does it sound like the original amp, because if you ask me, if I liked how a Fender Twin would sound, I would buy a Fender Twin and try to get that sound. But I've never heard of Fender Twin, at least from me playing through it at its full potential, so I don't know if I like it or not. But I have played through this, and I know how to use this to its full potential, so I make it sound the way I want. And that's what you need to think about as well. There's nothing wrong with trying to emulate. If you've got one of these amps, if you have like the Dr. Z Route 66 or maybe a Marshall JTM45 or a Fender Deluxe Reverb, and you want to kind of recreate your analog rig, by all means, have fun and try to get the best tone you can. But break the rules, man. I'm running a Hiwatt into a 212 cabinet. It shouldn't be done. I mean, listen to that low end I'm getting though. I mean, yeah, it's not, you know, ripping my face off, but you're going to record with a sound like that. You're going to, if you play with that live, it sits in a mix very, very well. So that's a good sound. And again, I broke the rules. I didn't use the stock cabinet, and I did things that you typically wouldn't do on a Hiwatt amplifier. So that's my philosophy. That's kind of how I roll. But again, you can download this patch. It's going to be in the info box, and tweak it how you like it. I'm just kind of giving you some tips on stuff that I've found while messing with this and kind of letting you hear what I'm hearing. Might turn that gain down just a hair, maybe down to 75 or so. Alrighty, let's mess with the sag control. Here it is at 50, that's what you've been hearing. Let's hear it at 0. This is supposed to be a pretty modern version of that amp, so very tight, very responsive it might be. Yep, it's a little cleaner, it's a little punchier. I recommend if you're doing a lot of faster stuff down low to have the sag control pretty low as well. The sag control works great if you're doing a lot of, you know, very singy lead lines. Even with the sag on 0, it sounds great, but if you're doing a lot of punchy low end stuff, having the sag down can help kind of tighten that up. And again, you don't have to deal with the bass frequencies of the Hiwatt. Of the stock Hiwatt, you can hear whatever you want to hear, and that's the beauty of the digital world. And you have complete control. Alright, I'll try it out at 100, but I'll tell you right now, I'm probably just going to leave that sag at 0. I just love that sound. But here it is at 100. There, I try to do some fast stuff down low. It was very sloppy, but what it goes to show is that it's not as tight. See how it's kind of, I can't think of any other word but flubby. I heard that on some YouTube video, and that's the perfect word to describe kind of what I'm hearing. Now, if you're doing a lot of high stuff and very singy stuff, you know, like... and that's more your style, that's cool. Do that. Crank it up. I'm going to try it one more time at 50, and then I'm going to drop it right back down to 0 because that was just a great tone. So that's a good tone too, but again, I like it at 0. I might turn it up just a little bit, mate. I'll tell you what, let's set it in between the in-between. I'll set it 25. My two favorite settings are 0 and 50. I'm in between, got the perfect in between of both of them. Very cool. So that's it with the sag. Let's mess with the hum control. Alright, we're done with it. Now onto the bias. The bias and bias excursion. Again, I don't really know. I haven't really read the manual since my first video. So I don't know exactly what these are technically doing. All I know is that it tends to sound a little bit more modern when I turn the knob towards the left and a little bit more vintage when I turn it towards the right. So let's just hear the bias at 50, and I'm just going to do a simple lead lick, and why not? If I do it right. Alright, I haven't played that one in a while. I was just messing with it earlier and wanted to play it. So here it is at 0%. Here it is at 100%. I kind of liked it at 50. I'm just going to keep it there. Bias excursion. Here it is at 50. Here it is at 0. Here it is at 100. I liked it fairly low. I'm going to put it about, why not? Let's put it at about, if my computer will agree with me, 15. Alright, so that's it for the amp parameters. Let's mess with the cab parameters. I'm going to go to my Les Paul sound here and mess with this low cut. If you have an extended range or a drop tune guitar, sometimes the lower strings, though the extra low end can be useful, sometimes it can be a bit much, so this low cut really comes in handy. I don't have any drop tunings that I usually do, but if I'm playing a humbucker guitar or any guitar that has an excessive amount of bass, you can mess with this low cut and try to get rid of some of that real excessively boomy, muddy low end. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So let me put it where it usually is, where I have it. So keeps on wanting to go to the amp parameters. That's here at 0 or 20 hertz, 0% basically. On the Les Paul in the neck position. lots and lots and lots of low end. That's here at the 50% mark, or thereabout. 260, what is that? I can't see, but alright, here it is at 50%. Now obviously it's a little extreme. Let's hear it at about there. That's pretty manageable. It keeps that low end to where it's not, So, like I said, I don't use the Les Paul on down low stuff anyway, at least in neck position, so that works fine for me. So the low cut is cool for stuff like that. The res level, it kind of, to me, works almost like an edge or a overall volume sounding thing. Like I don't know, like how big the cabinet sounds, if that makes sense. Like here it is at 70, or sorry, at 70. I don't know what I'm thinking. At 0, let's hear how it sounds. Almost sounds like an isolation cabinet that's not very well isolated, if you understand what I mean. And I'll turn it up. Hopefully I won't clip my recorder too bad, but here it is at 100. Ooh, that's really, really loud. That just sounds like a full bore 412 cabinet just ripping your face off. Pardon my extremely violent remark there. I like it at 50. You might like it at a different setting. I'm just going to keep it at 50. And now my absolute favorite parameter of the whole thing, the thump control. There's no question on every amp, as far as I know, I have the thump control all the way up. It's awesome. Why wouldn't you? I mean, you get that crazy low end out of a 212 cabinet. But some people don't like a very big low end, especially if you're playing, I don't know what style of music where you wouldn't have a lot of low end, but if maybe that low end start to compete with your bass player, and bass players don't like it when you have as much low end as they do, you can kind of tweak that a little bit. And this is, again, preamp or post amp bass. So it's like if your sound guy were to crank up the bass on your guitar, it's not like turning the bass up on your amplifier where you're getting more low end distortion. This is a clean low end. So it's turning up the sub bass frequencies, not just the bass frequencies that's going into the overdrive, if that makes sense. So here is the thump at the stock position. So I assume that's what the 2x12 PhD ported cab sounds like in its stock state, or what the actual cab sounds like low end wise. So not bad at all. It's a nice sound, but I like it cranked up a little bit more. But anyway, let's hear it at 0%. Again, if your guitar is a little too bassy for a mix, my sound man hasn't complained about it. He kind of likes the guitar having a little bit of low end. But, if it's not sitting well in a mix, you can mess with that thump control, and it kind of works as like a frequency sweep to kind of give you more or less thump, just like it says. And like I said, I like it cranked up. A lot of people say that playing through a digital unit, especially hearing it through headphones, doesn't feel like a real amp. When you have that thump control up, it really does, at least in your head, when you have reverb going, a little bit of reverb, or you can mess with the room control. I don't really like it, but I like it with the reverb instead. But it really does feel like you're in a room. If you close your eyes and play, sure, you're not feeling the air moving of the cabinet, but you can really feel that bass and that bottom end, let's face it, guys. I know we're guitar players, but we like our amps because of the bottom end. We like to feel that bottom end, not necessarily the volume. We can care less about the volume. It's more the bottom end. We like to hit those lower strings and our legs shake a little bit. So nothing wrong with that. You know, just like bass players always want to play up at the 28th fret, they'd rather be guitar players, but why they aren't, I don't know. It's probably because they can't figure out the extra 2 strings. Oh, did he just say that? Yeah, I did. I'm just kidding. But, you know, we're always, you know, guitar players want to be bass players and bass players want to be guitar players. That's probably why most of us don't get along. Okay, I get along with my bass players. I love my bass players. So, anyway, the decay control. I want to turn the reverb off and do something that I haven't done in any of the other videos. I'm not going to go back and remake them because that'd be just a pain in the butt. Let's turn this room control up. Alright, I don't like that, but some people might. Kind of has an amp in a room type feel. I like an amp in an arena type feel. But let's just hear what the decay does. Let's see if it does what I think it does. So there it is at 100%. Here it is at 0. Okay, so it doesn't do what I thought it did. I thought it would make that faux room reverb kind of trail out a little bit more, but it doesn't. So I just set it at 50. I don't hear a big tone difference. It could just be that I don't have that great of an ear, maybe, but I don't know. I like how this sounds. Alright, so we've heard the Hiwatt and all the different parameters it has. We've heard different guitars to it. Let's mess with some of the distortion options we have. So first off, again, let's hear the boost comp with it. Might turn that treble down just a hair. Let's hear the compressor with this amp. It's a little noisy. Let's maybe turn that drive down a little bit. Let's try to get that sounds more like unity gain. Let's see if it's unity gain. That's actually a little cleaner than the original sound. Let's crank up the drive a little bit so we can get a little extra push. Like thus. People keep the guitar plugged in. I don't know what y'all are hearing, but I'm hearing tone goodness. I'm in tone heaven. That just sounds great. Wow. I'm going to have to use that. That sounds really good. Here's the tube screamer. Why not? Yeah, I just changed keys. Alrighty, alright. Let's hear the tube drive. I'm going to bring the gain down just a little bit on that. and the DoD 250. Turn that bass down. I might just turn the bass off. Not my favorite overdrive. It might have its use somewhere, but not with me. At least not with this amp. The Proco Rat. First thing, turn that drive down, turn that filter up. So, this is what all the other, or most of the other Pod HD reviews sound like. So now let's hear the Hiwatt. I'm kidding. There's only a few of them that are like that. I'm definitely not one of those guys where I think I have the best review out there. I just hit record and mess around and hope y'all enjoy. Alrighty guys, that's the Hiwatt DR-103 amp model. If you like this sound, you can download it. I'll post a link to my custom tone account, and you can download all my patches. For those of you that watched my Lincoln Brewster Pod XT Live patch from a while back, I'm still getting emails about that thing. A lot of people are having trouble downloading them. If you're having trouble downloading them from Lincoln's website, you can download them off of my page. I believe I've posted that before. I think I'm going to go back on that video and post that in the comment section. That way, if someone wants to know, they'll be able to figure it out. But anyway, so again, if you like the sound, you can download it. If you like it, put a ring on it. So this has been the Hiwatt DR-103 on the Line 6 Pod HD500. What can I say? Great sounding amp. Tweak it to tune to your guitar. Sounds good. It has its place, and its place is going to be somewhere in this next week's set list. I mean, it's a really great tone. So anyway, so this is Derek Hegwood signing off. Thanks for watching, and God bless you.